traveling to the edges of space and time. We will be warping through the vortex of the dream world. Welcome, Dream Report, Episode 1. So, let me get in here, dude. So, I was just thinking to myself, man, wouldn't that be a cool video idea to, I don't know, whenever I have a cool dream, just wake up right after the dream and write down every single thing that happened and make a video on it. It's just as simple as that, dude. So that's where this video idea came from. I've noticed I've been having quite a few cool dreams, and I was like, well, man, some of these are like really cool, and I think it'd be a cool thing to come in here and just share my experiences on YouTube. Most people, they have dreams and then they forget them. And then it's just like that, you know. If you don't write down what you've experienced in your dream at all, then it's very easy for it to slip away. It's very easy for it to just become like, I don't really remember that. That's what 99% of people do. But if you write down what you experience directly after you experience it, which is pretty difficult because most time you're tired and you're just like, oh my God, I just want to go back to sleep. And you don't want to have to write down what you experienced. You know, that's what most people do there. But if you do, then now a cool thing happens where you're actually sort of stepping into the dream dimension. You're stepping into this very odd world that we don't get to talk about and experience very often. So I'm going to try to go in here and explain it as best I can, but you guys know how the dream world is, okay? It's like one of those things that it's just about almost impossible to explain to someone. It really is, what it really feels like, but I'm going to do the very best that I can. So here we go, Episode 1, man. Let me actually get to a different planet here so you guys can see some different stuff. But, alright, that looks like ass. Okay, so this first dream is one of the craziest dreams I've had in a long time. Super vivid, super rememberable. It's one of those dreams I'll probably remember forever. So, what happened is we were at this really big waterfall, okay? Just try to kind of follow along with me here. We were at this really big waterfall in a jungle-type environment, so that kind of sets the base for it. And it was as if, like, the waterfall was super wide, okay? Like, very, very wide waterfall. And we were at the top of it to where you couldn't really see where it was falling. It was like a pretty big waterfall, super wide. Seemed like it was deep water. Didn't seem like you could walk through the water. It was like pretty deep, wide waterfall, jungle environment. And we were at the top of it, and you couldn't really see below it, like what was down below it. And everything else beside it, it was just kind of, we were like in this one little realm. You couldn't like look over here and see stuff over here. That was all you were basically seeing. And it was as if it was like at a ski lodge or something beside it, like on one side of the actual, I don't even want to call it a river because I don't know what it was, but whatever it was before it actually hit the waterfall, we were at this sort of lodge thing, and it was almost like we were on a vacation. Like it was me, family, friends of family, and just other random tourists there. And there was like a tour guide sort of person there as well. And the whole sort of goal, I guess, was to get across the actual, like, river part of the waterfall. You know, like, get across it. And it, like, the waterfall's, like, falling right there. And you have to get across this crazy river without falling down, you know, without it sweeping you down to the waterfall side. But the thing about it is, like, the water seems so deep. So, anyways, the tour guide, well, first of all, let me say this. We got these, like, knee pads, but they were, like, little 5-year-old, like, plastic knee pads that wouldn't do anything at all, weirdly enough. That's a definition of how weird dreams can be. So, we had that, and we all put those on, but it seemed as if it was, like, where I don't know if everyone was following me, but like behind me, but I couldn't really see them. But it seemed like we were all like starting to do this almost like a run, or like we were about to do something, and the tour guide was sort of leading it, and they said there was like a big shark in this water, and the whole goal was to like try to get across it without falling off this waterfall that we didn't even know where it went to. So the tour guide hops in the water, gets in there, and then we hop in the water. Okay, so we get in the water there. What the hell is it? I say we, but it really felt like me. A lot of it was really just honestly, it just felt like I was following this tour guide. So as soon as we hop down in the water, all of a sudden, it turns into this sort of almost like a Finding Nemo Disneyland ride, but it was a super sinister, dark version of it, if you can understand that. Like, try to picture that in your head. You're like a Finding Nemo ride where there's like underwater little, you know how it's like dark, it's almost like you're in a lot of those Disney rides are like dark. It's almost like you're going through a tunnel. Well, that's what it automatically, it's like it warped me into that, and I was no longer like under this water. I couldn't like swim to the top and come out of the water. It like basically warped me into a whole different area. And it was like dark and somewhat sinister. You know, it wasn't like Finding Nemo, super cute fish swimming and stuff like that. It was a little more dark, a little more sinister, a little more like there was like these wood things and kind of like steel bars, and you were like swimming. You were swimming, it felt like, but there was no water. If that's interesting enough for you. So you were kind of like going through this almost tunnel maze of stuff, and it was like you would swim over this, go under this, go over that, and the whole goal was to like, at the beginning was like, if you could get across the water, then you would get to the true experience of this vacation, or this, you could like find this secret spot of this tropical place that we were in. So like everyone was doing this thing to get to this next point. So that was kind of the whole goal to. So at this point, I was like following this tour guide. I don't even know if it was a human. I'm not really sure. Maybe a woman tour guide. She was like leading me through this sinister Disney Finding Nemo ride kind of thing that felt like you were in water, but there was no water. So we were going through that, and I was kind of following her, and she started to outrun me. And so I was going through it. There'd be like a shark, kind of a shark, like swim off in one area here. And then it's very hard to explain because it was like such a dream type of environment. Like it was so dark around this thing, but you were seeing like objects, and you were ducking under like pipes and going over wooden things. And then you would like find it, like certain parts of it would just Y off in completely different areas. You didn't know where to go, kind of confusing. And then you would like hit like these little wooden things. You could actually go through those. And so I finally got to the end of this thing, and it was as if it almost turned into a video game. Like all these lap times kind of things started popping up for everybody, and like all of the families' lap times were popping up, and all the other random tourist lap times are popping up, like how fast they actually did it. And apparently I didn't get a fast enough time, and it was like, oh, it like all of a sudden turned into this video game sort of menu all of a sudden. And it was like, you have the option to be a castaway, where I don't know what that would have done, or you have the option to retry this again. So I picked to retry it again, and I went through this like crazy, almost, you know how a black water slide is? It's fully enclosed. Have you ever been in one of those? That's kind of what it felt like, but it was like almost as if I was falling straight down in this thing. It was like I hit a button to go back to the start, and it was like, okay, now we're falling down this thing. Pretty creepy, actually, on how it felt. And it was like we were falling all the way down, and then I went back to the start, and now it was as if I was on the top of the water, but it was like really dark outside. It was like it was possibly raining or something in that same area where that waterfall is. And I was like swimming, and I like almost fell off the waterfall, but I swam, got myself away from it. Then I went back into the tunnel area system, and started going through that again. And this time now I was actually pushing off of objects like you would in a pool. Now you push off the edge of the pool. It's kind of what it felt like I was doing, try to go faster through this thing to try to get a good enough lap time. Fuck, I don't know what that meant, but I was doing that. And then it finally was like I took a different Y, like a Y off position than I did the original time that I went through it. And I finally got to the end of it, and it was like I finally got the fast enough lap time to go to this. It was as if you were like going to the cool part of the tropical world. It was like this is the way to get to it. And so I actually finally did that. And you would see like other people that just started to come up through. You see their lap times up on this board. We're like almost in another like video game ski lodge type of thing, kind of dark in the room. But it'd be like everyone's lap time kind of pop up kind of thing. And that was pretty much the end of it. I never got to go to the secret land or whatever, but that was pretty much all there was to that dream. But is it not crazy? Like, dreams are just some of the absolute craziest things. Just trying to convey the experience to someone is impossible. You can't even explain it to someone because the dream world is so crazy sometimes. Like, you can't even explain the feeling. It would be so cool if they could someday in this real-life world get a way to record exactly what you see and experience in your dream and be able to play that back for other people. That would be so cool. But either way, that's episode 1 on the Dream Report. We'll be doing a lot more of these. I got 3 or 4 other ones already wrote down, so even if I don't dream very much here in the recent future, I will still have videos to make on it, and so I'm really excited about doing that. I think it would be just something kind of cool, something different to talk about. And if you want to dream, all you really got to do is eat a bunch of food right before you go to sleep. I'm telling you, dude, you'll dream like a son of a gun all night long. It'll wear you out if you start eating before you go to sleep. And I think another thing that makes you dream a lot too is if you keep your mind busy like throughout the daytime. You really do a lot of things through the day, and you think about a lot of things, and I feel like dreaming is sort of a way of your brain being like, okay, we're about to show you the interdimensional fucking twist between the space and time of the vortex of the worlds of the dreamlands out there, and you're just going to go experience that and completely forget about your current world here because you're completely overloading your brain right now. I feel like that's what the brain does when it dreams. Either you're like you've eaten food, and for whatever reason that definitely makes you dream a little bit more too, but it's like it's almost as if it's really trying to give your brain a total escape from its current world. So I think that's what happens with it, but either way, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode here. I appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.